Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Horton. Today is the 21st of June 2017 and it's 10:30 p.m. at night. I am appealing again. I'm again issuing an SOS call for help as I continue being attacked in what is essentially a concentration camp.
I'm again issuing an SOS call for help.
I'm just going to switch this off. I'm trying to follow the comments tonight. If there are any sensible comments, I'll try to reply. I would like to report what happened today. I was again shot up last night, just like my colleagues as well, Ramola D and Karen Melton Stewart and Melanie Richan. I too report that I'm being shot at with electromagnetic machine guns at night, lying in bed, and I can actually hear the shots bounce off metal shielding. So last night I was again cowering under shielding as I was trying to just sleep. They continued firing like a bunch of psychopathic megalomaniacs, and with they, I mean the intelligence agencies run by Markus Seiler here in Switzerland. This has now been going on for almost a year. They use the fact that victims are helpless in bed to turn up these electromagnetic machine guns and literally machine gun people in their beds. These machine guns, or these electromagnetic machine guns, use the fact that microwaves pass through walls at 50%. So if you double the intensity, you can microwave somebody inside their home, or you can fire shots into them. I'm not sure if you just heard, I'm not sure if the camera can actually record this, but I had to wrap my entire study into in aluminium or metal shielding, trying to block out these shots. But through the gaps, they still fire through. And sometimes you can just hear the shots being fired at random places and bouncing off the shielding, as the Swiss intelligence agents run by Markus Seiler continue to machine gun me in my study in Zurich. I'm totally helpless. I have put out appeals for them to cease and desist. I went to the military HQ in Bern. I requested assistance from the military police as well. The military police does not just not help, they actively attack victims, which means that they're hostile and they're criminal. After I reached out to the military police, after the police here in Switzerland was utterly useless and refused to assist for over a year, I reached out to the military police hoping that they would understand microwave weapons because they're using them. And I said that I'm being attacked with microwave weapons. However, 3 days later, I survived an assassination attempt where I was shot in the head shortly after passing a big vehicle signed as military police, parked ostentatiously in the middle of the street. So from that, and also when I reached out again to the military police, that the local police was mobilized to stage intimidation theater. So at that point, I was meeting up with my husband in a restaurant just shortly after issuing, the day after issuing again an email plea for help from the military police. And then 4 police officers were sent to sit as demonstratively as possible behind my husband and me. The Swiss police doesn't investigate attacks with microwave weapons, even though microwave weapons have been around since the 1940s, pretty much. But they've been pretty public since the 1970s when the American embassy in Moscow was attacked. So for the last, 47 years, there is 47 years, imagine. So if there's microwave weapons back in the 70s, imagine where microwave weapons are now. But the police in Switzerland still play stupid. They're extremely corrupt. I can also show you the printout. I've got it here from, I'm about to upload this to my website. This is the printout. I requested my crime report from the Kantonspolizei in Zurich. And that's here, Kantonspolizei Zurich. And that's the reply. I just blacked out my private address to me. And they replied on the 26th of May. And the printout from police, every single time I went to the police to report a break-in and microwave attacks with microwaves, to then give them a map of where the microwave emitters are placed at my neighbors, to submit more evidence, and including, I think, a confession by Carl Clark, the MI6 whistleblower, stating that, yes, the intelligence agencies do attack civilians with police. And then going again and reporting, and the last time the police was actually called because our neighbors called it out because there was a domestic argument between my husband and me, and because of the noise, they called out the police. So every single time I went, and there's, by the way, lots of, I think 2 or 3 times I went to the police, that's not even cataloged in their system, but every single time that's cataloged, it was a different issue why I went there. And every single time they wrote down Verdacht auf psychische Veränderung, every single time, Verdacht auf psychische Veränderung. So literally that means in English, suspicion of a psychological change, right? So what this is actually black on white, police corruption here in the Kantonspolizei Zurich. They are corrupt. They are collaborating with organized criminals in the intelligence agency. So the organized criminals run by Markus Seiler mutilate civilians to death with microwave weapons, implants, nanotechnology, and neurotechnology, okay? And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the WikiLeaks Vault 7, and in there you'll find an email sent to Stratfor 10 years ago, okay, in 2007. And the document that was sent to Stratfor was, I think, 1,500 victim cases collected by John Finch, where these victims were pleading for the microwave attacks on them to stop. And in those victim reports, you also find the report of Walter Madliger, who in there states that he informed the Swiss Parliament and the entire Swiss judiciary of these crimes, and he's also a victim. Now that was 10 fucking years ago, okay, where the entire parliament and the entire judiciary was informed about microwave attacks on the civilian population. And 10 fucking years later, the Kantonspolizei Zurich, the best they can do is, if you report an attack with microwave weapons, is say suspicion of a psychological change. I mean, these guys are not psychologists or anything. It's not like they have known you beforehand. But if you report microwave attacks, Kantonspolizei Zurich puts their corruption black on white and actually says, here, Verdacht auf psychische Veränderung. I'm not sure if you can read it. Yeah? So I'm going to publish this online because this entire thing is a weapons system run by the intelligence agencies. It's a mutilation and murder system against the civilian population. What's happening now is that they're picking mostly women at random, and that's because it seems to be the case that the heads of the intelligence agencies are total psychopaths. So you probably have heard of psychopathic serial killers liking to kill women, right? So they are, as it seems, the same psychological profile as serial killers. Therefore, they will pick on women. There's also other system effects that will mean that there are a lot more female victims who are, lustfully, sadistically tortured to death. And that affects something like, if you've got a militaristic organization, if it's a pyramid hierarchy, it will attract the most ruthless people at the top, right? Because everybody's really militaristic. And only the ruthless people really make it to the top past everybody else. Now, once you have this ruthless top, you have a pre-selection towards psychopathy. So the heads will be psychopaths. And once you've got a system of psychopaths, the psychopaths who succeed over other psychopaths are the most networked ones. And the closest way you can network with somebody is if you sleep with them. So at the top, there will be psychopaths who sleep with each other, as in militant gay guys. It has nothing to do with gayness. It has to do with the competitiveness of the edge that you get the sort of, it's a pre-selection. It's like a selection bias, we would say, in systems analysis of physics. So you have this selection bias towards psychopathy, towards homosexuality, which in itself isn't a problem. But when it's combined with psychopathy and the need to build up a weapon system and then use people to shred them for the calibration of this weapon system, these people are even more likely to pick women because, frankly, they don't give a shit about women. So, you end up with exactly the sort of thing. And this is what I think Dr. John Hall reported, that 70 to 80% of the victims are women. That's why, okay? That's why. Yes, there are many, many men, and I do not ignore the men. And a lot of the men are also murdered, okay? I think Walter Madliger, who informed the Swiss parliament 10 years ago, it seems that he was murdered. There's also other murder victims. For example, the Swiss citizen Britta Lea Jacquard, who was living in Bavaria. She was tortured to death and murdered and then incinerated, as in cremated, by German intelligence, it seems. And they cremated her really, really fast because I think they wanted to cover up the fact that her body was loaded with chips and nanotechnology and had horrific injuries that were telltale signs of attacks with microwave weapons. Okay, so this entire problem with microwave weapons in Switzerland and the civilian population being shot to pieces is at least 10 years old, because already in 2007, there's evidence of Walter Madliger, who was since then, as it seems, murdered, putting it in writing that he informed the Swiss parliament. So 10 years on, this shit ain't excusable. What it means is that the head of the Kantonspolizei Zurich is a corrupt criminal, because he or she, I think it's actually a she of the Kriminalpolizei bit, she is aiding and abetting. Her department is aiding and abetting crimes against humanity. That's what it means. So this piece of paper is very, very important for the upcoming court cases, because this sort of shit shows that what the police is doing is that they actively attack, they slander, they libel, because this is libel if it's in print, right? They libel me by suggesting I've got a psychological change. Well, this is fucking bullshit, frankly, given that there's already videos online where I'm showing how actual electromagnetic shots from an electromagnetic machine gun are putting a dent into metal shielding that I need to keep on myself just to be able to sit in my own dining room in Zurich, okay? So that's the background story. So this is now the police corruption that we're faced with here in Switzerland. There's identical police corruption in Germany. The Bundeskriminalamt refused to hear about the attacks on me, even though they also happened on German soil in several states of Germany. The UK police still refuses to send me my crime report, and they also sent out a so-called, what they call the mental health ambulance, to stage intimidation theatre after I tried to report being attacked by microwave weapons in Manchester. So the police, it seems, I mean, once you get to the stage, and John Finch informed all authorities already years ago, and this is already public. He sent 1,500 victim cases from all around the world to every authorities that you can think of. So human rights charities, religious organizations, governments, the UN, the EU, everybody knows, and no one does anything about it. So what that means is that they are all in on it, right? So when you get stuff like that from the police about psychological things and mental health smears, there are only ever two questions. Are they that fucking stupid, or are they that corrupt that they pull something off? And frankly, when it's the same sort of stupid between Switzerland, Germany, and the UK, it means that they are corrupt. Now, when it's on this scale, it is a genocide, okay? So people are being tortured to death and mutilated to death in their own home everywhere in Europe, and the police actively covers it up, okay? Actively covers up this genocide. These are concentration camps. So the way it works is that you're inside your private home, you've got microwaves which pass through the walls of your home at 50%. So it means that at neighboring properties, you can put down microwave guns and shoot into your home and shoot at you. How can you be seen inside your home? That can be done with radar surveillance and many other things. And I think the US laboratory, I think it's the Lawrence Livermore lab, advertises a little radar device that you can put on a pickup truck outside somebody's home and then make a floor plan of a high-rise, a multi-story building. Okay, so that's again using the fact that radiation passes through walls and stuff like that. So there's a scientific paper out testing miscellaneous frequencies like mobile phone frequencies, microwave frequencies, and the conclusion of the paper is it's surprising how transparent walls and normal building materials are to these sort of frequencies. So for visible light, they are opaque, which is why you can't see through walls, but with other frequencies, you can see through walls. So this is the story. So what has happened today is I was trying to put stuff together, but I woke up from the assaults last night. Again, last night I went to bed listening to the rain because it sounds like rain, the pattern, the patter of electromagnetic machine gun shots being fired at the shielding. I have to, it's boiling hot here in Zurich at the moment. I have to completely seal the bunker of metal shielding that I'm sleeping under, because if there's a smallest gap, it's kind of the shots bounce in and then hit me. And that happened several times last night, that they shot at the gaps using the reflectiveness of metal to actually shoot into my body. So I went to bed with occasional popping sounds in my head as the microwave energy was just shot into my skull, sometimes through my throat as I was lying down. Sometimes it was shot into my arm, my legs, making my body tissue pop from the microwave energy. So that is the Nazi bullshit that Markus Seiler has authorized. And given that I have already addressed the NDB, and I've even spoken for an hour and a half to a senior member of the NDB at the military HQ in Bern, and the entire conversation has been passed to my colleagues so they can certify that this has happened. What this means is that Markus Seiler authorizes my murder and mutilation, which makes him a war criminal, a traitor, and an actual criminal who commits crimes against humanity. He is committing authorizing the committal of premeditated mutilation and murder. So this sort of crimes on this scale we haven't seen since the Second World War. These are Nazi crimes being committed by the Nazi, I have to say, Swiss intelligence agency, the Nazi UK and German intelligence agencies, and many other intelligence agencies as well. And they are covered up by what looks like Nazi collaborating police. So when the Gestapo in Nazi Germany took over, they infiltrated the police and they put corrupts and degenerates there. So degenerates, if somebody's a degenerate, it means that they are not acting as you would expect. It's not normal. So degenerate means a deviation from the normal. So when you have police officers and their task is to actually solve crime and they ignore crime, they are degenerate police officers, okay? So this is the method of the crime cartel, is to utterly crush a country by using the intelligence agencies to commit horrific crimes like the Gestapo, like the Stasi, like the KGB, like the Securitate in Communist Romania, and everywhere else around the world. You use the psychopathic Nazi nutters inside the intelligence agencies, and you corrupt the police, and you put people there who are either too fucking stupid or who are degenerate or who are corrupt, and therefore will, cover up the crimes of the intelligence agencies. So when you get this paper that I've just shown you from the Cantons Police in Zurich, you know that they are either degenerate, fucking stupid, or totally corrupt. Okay, so, and again, stupid doesn't really cut it at this scale, so they must be degenerates and corrupts. So that's the situation we have. So this is how it comes that somebody who worked really hard all their life, who's really trying to, help other people, is being shot to pieces by a bunch of Nazi psychopathic serial killers in Swiss intelligence, and it's authorized by Markus Seiler. This is very, very, very important to know. So I'm now trying to read the actual comments, and yes, somebody mentions being a targeted individual and the victim of human trafficking. Yes, this is human trafficking. Human experimentation and mind control technology, extreme abuse, yes. Secretive lab exploitation and massive establishment cover-up, that is true. That's exactly all the things that are being done to victims. So yes, it is human trafficking. I can confirm that because I was put on this mutilation and murder list in the UK, and I was trafficked to Germany, where it was taken up by German intelligence, and then trafficked to Switzerland, where it's been taken up by Markus Seiler's NDB. So the other things that happened today is that I also went out to meet somebody, and the NDB does a special effort. So because they seem to be psychopathic serial killers at the top, their behavior, and by the way, the same applies to MI5, MI6, and the BND as well. So before anybody thinks I'm singling out Swiss intelligence, I just happened to be mutilated today here in Switzerland by Swiss intelligence. So because the leadership has the structure, the psychological profile, it seems, of psychopathic serial killers, when they train their next generation, they will train them up to behave like psychopathic serial killers. So you can think of any sort of film about serial killers that, maybe The Silence of the Lambs, and one element is the jeering, the kind of almost sexual arousal, because it is sexual arousal, about the mutilation and murder of the victim, the jeering at the victim, the denigration, the dehumanization of the victim. And that is exactly what you see in the behavior of the Swiss intelligence agency, NDB. So they are with women, for example. Now I have to cover my hand because I have to use metal, because what they're doing now is actually shoot into my breast. So as I'm recording, they're also listening to what I'm saying, and they kind of do this kind of psychopathic serial killer thing where they try to punish the victim and shit like that. So when, for example, when a lawyer from the UK returned my call, I was really shot into my head from my next door neighbor from that direction, really extremely hard, gunshots into my head, just because I answered the call from a UK lawyer. That is, it doesn't make any sense if you're normal in the head. And that's why you have to realize that these people who run the intelligence agencies are not normal in the head. They are, if you've read up about pedogate and the ritual sacrifice of children and the mutilation and so on, Pizzagate, pedogate, and that sort of people who are totally psychopathic and frankly, ultimately terminally fucked in the head. Now, that seems to be the sort of person who heads up the intelligence agencies. So this is it. So today, when I went out to meet a person, I strongly suspect that this meeting was infiltrated because of many, highly unusual aspects. But anyway, so most likely I met an NDB agent today. But anyway, and the person was also extremely nervous and had to just, communicate via mobile phones, which is sometimes a telltale sign. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's every single time I was dealing with, trainee agents or agents, I don't think they can wipe their own backsides, frankly, without having to, touch base with the team. And that's very much the feeling I had, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, certainly when I went to that meeting, what the Swiss intelligence agency does, like all other intelligence agencies, when you're a victim, they want to just show you, like pathologically, that they control everything that you're doing and they are monitoring everything that you're doing. So when you go somewhere, they put one of their wacky stalkers as ostentatiously as possible in your path, who will be then staring at the meeting point where you'll be meeting somebody, or staring at the person you're going to meet, or some whacked out bullcrap like that. There's only so much with their trainee fucktards that they can pull off. So it has to be something simple, and that's what they pull off. So what I had today is I'm going to this meeting, which I arranged over, an encrypted app, so to speak, as in WhatsApp, which is meant to be encrypted. But I mean, yes, my lower spine encrypted. And then, Swiss Intel. So one of the things that I noticed about all intelligence agencies is that they're training up a crap load of very young, like teenage and early 20 fucktards as their next, to expand their operation and totally swamp their own countries with these weaponized fucktards to just take their own country down. That's what they're doing right now. So I'm going to this meeting, and there's this young chap looking like, one of the, Swiss Intel's fucktards, standing there staring at the point where I'm going to meet somebody. And it could be just a person just standing there. But as you approach, he has to look over my shoulder, look at me, and then look at the place where I'm going to go into, to meet somebody. So that is classic. And then he keeps looking back at me. There's absolutely no point for somebody to just turn around, randomly as you're approaching. And then, of course, these people also typically only have a mobile phone in their hand because, they are roaming about town, doing their, wannabe Intel bullcrap as they're being trained up how to be, real psychopathic serial killers. And, they're just running around with a mobile phone continually touching base over an app with their other fucked-out buddies. So that's the sort of shit I've been observing from MI5 in the UK, from the German BND, who, by the way, is also training up children as young as 8. So, when I used to live in Munich, we ended up living next to the BND. So BND is Bundesnachrichtendienst in Germany. And I was stalked. I was used as a prop as they were training up their teenage slackers and, teenage morons for their operations. And they had certain days, which was really kiddie training day, where I would be stalked by, I kid you not, children of the age of 8 and 10 and 13 and stuff like that. So, the BND is actually brainwashing children, generating child soldiers to then, grow them into weaponized fucktards to swamp Germany with this detritus of, human existence, Anyway. So that's the shit we're dealing with. So imagine you're going to a meeting, one of their, idiots is plonked there. And then as I'm coming back after the meeting, I went back to the car park where I parked my car. And then one of the things that they do is they either put somebody next to my car or next to the entrance to the car park. So I'm coming back and there's a lady standing as like demonstratively as possible, with gang stalker sunglasses, staring at me as I'm coming back, to the car park. I'm thinking, yeah, there's the gang stalker. And then she's just standing there. So I stopped, I photographed her. And then you have every single time you see a gang stalker, they are like rats or cockroaches. So if you spot one, there are about 100 around you, And so I stopped and I thought, okay, where is the other gang stalker? And there's some people coming down the street. So when you're walking, they try to do this crisscross, so you have these stalkers swarming around you all the time. So people coming from there, okay, there's a cross-by. So where's the cross-by coming from behind? And then this guy came on a bicycle, looked at her and like nodded, as there's no reason why they have to do these open, signs to each other, but they do that if they want to make you feel that they are a gang and they're ganging up on you. So I was thinking, oh yes, of course, I guess that dude on a bicycle is one of the fucktards. And then he had to like nod, with a jeering grin on his face to this, other woman who was standing there. And that's the sort of shit, they are doing. And it's just the most fucking mind-blowing thing. Because number one, the age, these people are early 20s, something like that. So you can really see the NDB is expanding its operation massively because they are training up. They've got this industrial scale, fucked up production line here in Switzerland, like in Britain, like in Germany as well. So they're really building up to something big. So what could that big thing be? And that's what's so funny, because none of these Swiss guys are, and by the way, the same is true of German and British intelligence, none of them are actually clued in enough to think, hang on, what the fuck are we doing here? And that's the key, because one of the things that many people don't know is, and that's totally ignored in the James Bond films, is that when you've got an intelligence agent, you don't want them to be super bright. Why? Because you give them sort of maintenance access to potential secrets. And if they're really bright, they'll figure out, what the deal is. So you don't want that. So at some point, you always want them to be somehow a bit fucked in the head and stupid. And the higher you get, ironically, the more fucking stupid they have to be for the cartel. They must be. So if you get a head of intelligence, he can't be a freaking genius, because it would be too dangerous, because he's got access to so much. He could really mobilize, find out where the weaknesses are, mobilize all the resources and take out some people and then become super powerful. You don't want that. So ironically, if you have intelligence agents, they have to be fucking stupid. Okay, they just have got to be fucking stupid. And ideally, they just about have enough intelligence to do their job, but not a fat lot more. Okay, because then it becomes dangerous. So these people clearly do not have enough brain power to figure out what's going on. So what could possibly be going on? And I'm trying to tell the Swiss that this is a really bad idea, not for my sake, but because they're about to fuck themselves really, really hard. So when you have this sudden expansion of intelligence agencies, okay, and we know that this is happening because I think it was the Independent or Guardian that published that after 2003, MI5's budget doubled, its headcount tripled, and the operations went up by a factor 5. Now, that's an intelligence agency. Intelligence agencies do jack shit, okay? They don't produce anything. They don't make your country smarter or richer. They work in deception, sabotage, and that's it, and maiming and murder. So if operations go up by a factor 5, sabotage, corruption, maiming and murder, and deception went up by a factor of 5. Is that a really good thing for a country? No, it's really fucking awful. And what's going to happen is that country will be taken down from the sheer weight of these weaponized moron fucktards, okay? And there's no country in the world ever in the history of mankind that survived a doubling of the intelligence agency budget and a quintupling of intelligence agency operations. So from that little Guardian article alone, we know that the UK is fucked. Okay? There's a takedown operation on the UK because when you swamp the country with these intelligence agents, you swamp them with people who are by selection stupid, but they're also weaponized. They are made to gang up on other people. So when you do that, automatically, because they're a bunch of fucktards, they're going to gang up on the intelligent people, because no intelligent person would ever be part of their team. So they gang up on the others, which by definition are intelligent people. And therefore, the intelligent people can't do their job, which would be the productive things. So then you drag the whole country down. Okay? So I think the person who applied for doubling of the budgets, I think after 2003, was Eliza Manningham-Buller. So she, Lizzie, is single-handedly responsible for the takedown operation of the UK. And the actual side effects or consequences of actions will only be seen like decades later when you see that the country has been fucking obliterated by the Stasi operation. But that's what's happening. So these are the numbers we have for the UK, but the same happened in Germany and the same happened here in Switzerland. And when you're one of the victims of the intelligence agencies, watch out and just count the proportion of young people that are trained up compared to the senior handlers. Okay, so you will have at least a dozen of young people and one senior handler. So, it shows you the pyramid. Of course, some people are going to leave the intelligence agency. So they are not all going to stay in the intelligence agency. But that's even worse because you have these fucktard infiltrators being washed into the media, into, consultancies and everywhere. So you've got this network of morons. But because they are part of the network and are inside the crowd of the intelligence agencies, they, through their networks, they'll get leadership positions and so on and so on. So this means you have fucking stupid people being networked up to climb the higher ranks, and that pushes the entire system down. So if you don't understand this process, watch my video on system inversions, okay? So that's the report for today. Also, the non-stop physical attacks. So in my flat, I couldn't actually stay. When I went out to meet somebody, I actually, was glad to leave the home because they kept shooting into my head. So the Swiss intelligence run by Markus Seiler, as I have to keep emphasizing, Markus Seiler, he's the man responsible for this bullshit. They placed microwave guns opposite my balcony. So when I'm out on the balcony trying to catch some fresh air, I'm being shot into my face, into my eyes, and into my head. And as you keep being shot at with microwave weapons, what you end up with is also pigment changes. So you can maybe see here, these are pigment changes there, and you have something like a mark there and marks there. And these are the places where I'm being shot at into my face and also my forehead. And these are actually this is damage from the microwave guns. I also have little bruises the size of my, the nail on my little finger on my body as they shoot into me throughout the night. So today I was shot into my face and my head from the neighboring properties over there. And by the way, online, if you Google for Dr. Ronnie Kilder, the ex-chief medical officer of Finland, who was murdered in 2015 by Norwegian intelligence, as it seems, with electromagnetic weapons. If you Google her name, you'll find an interview with her that seems to be, I think, inside her home. And there she even shows the documents for this weapon system, electromagnetic weapon system. And she went to all the military conferences, and she was a very highly regarded woman. And there someone gave her these classified documents or declassified documents. And it shows a diagram of people being shot at in their home from a neighboring property. So that is the actual modus operandum. So the intelligence agencies put down emitters all around your home and then shoot inside you like a bunch of degenerate, fucked up morons, which is what they seem to be. So this is the report for today. Oh yes, the other thing is also a lot of victims have this thing. They observe that the intelligence agencies actively try to destroy joints. That's true. So today I woke up and you know how you've got this on your foot, you've got your toes, your little toe, and then kind of this joint here on your foot. Now they were shooting into that joint, or maybe there's a chip in there, and they just kept triggering it until the entire tissue and the joints inflamed. but they inflame that joint, and they love to do that because they think, I think, if you wear shoes, it hurts, so you hurt you're hurt even more and shit like that. I mean, you can't make this up, but a lot of victims have basically photographed their feet and that joint, saying that it's inflamed and it hurts because it's being attacked, you know. So it's like one of their standard programs. So anyway, I think personally, I think these people who are hired by the intelligence agencies, as I said, are selected on utter fucking stupidity. So there's probably no way to actually get through to them. But at some point, I think they should be informed that they are taking part in crimes against humanity, and therefore they are aiding and abetting and actively taking part in psychological terrorism and other acts, and also related to attacks with electromagnetic weapons. So these people, just like the Nazi prison guards, will also appear in court. So maybe we should start informing them and actually letting them know what they are, you know, being roped into to do by the intelligence agencies. But most certainly the heads of intelligence are guilty and should be charged. Okay, so that's the report for today. Non-stop attacks and oh yes, the other thing is also my thyroid. So with women, they attack the thyroid. And today on the balcony, they kept shooting into my thyroid so much that when I came back in, there was an entire red patch here. I think maybe you can still see it because the microwave weapons actually damage the skin as well. Okay, so let me see if there are any good comments today. So in the chat, it sounds like it could be part of Harp by Sebastian Chatterton. Chatterton, is that a chatbot? Harp, yes, well, no, I think these are handheld emitters and things that you can probably put on a tripod. Okay, so there's the usual comments saying I'm mad and I should be treated. Unfortunately, I am now leading an investigation team, an international one, and we are collecting affidavits and we are collecting evidence, and we've got lots of evidence ourselves. Including, for example, my colleague Melanie Richan, who took an entire implant out of her throat. So, okay. Now, the other thing is sound waves bullets. Sound waves, well, I don't think it's sound waves because they pass through walls. And I think you would have difficulty, I think, passing a very focused, hard sound wave through a wall. Because the structure of the wall should disperse it, I think. But electromagnetic pulses go through. Okay, people reporting being put into psych wards. Well, that happened to Frédéric Laroche in France. That was an entrapment operation by French intelligence on Frédéric Laroche. We'll hear more about that soon. Also, psychiatrists paralyzed his breathing with the drugs they gave him. I mean, crazy shit. You can't make it up. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Is there any? Do you guys have any good questions? Any? Okay, there's one by Joel Weidenfeld. Funny, there are others exactly like you saying exactly the same thing. Like a script doctor, shot in the head, shot in the head, shot in the head. Well, has it ever occurred to you that that's the program by the intelligence agencies? And, you know, when the Stasi had Zersetzung, now we have neurological Zersetzung, and the best way to do that is shoot people in the head. Maybe that's why. Okay, then Barbara Gillette, have you gained weight? Side effect of sleep deprivation. I might have gained weight. I have no idea. Frankly, my weight is the last thing I'm worrying about right now. It's more like being tortured to death by, you know, people authorized by Markus Seiler. Okay, Joe Weidenfeld. Okay, I knew that the comments bullshit. Where's your tinfoil underwear that usually hangs on the tinfoil? Do nothing background, you idiot. Well, hang on. If you watch my video that I keep pointing out, if you search for Stop 007 and you search for audible and visible, okay, you will come to a video which shows audible and visible shots, and you can see how aluminium, there's a dent put into it by a microwave shot. And the reason why there's a dent put into it is because this thing bounces off, the metal. Okay, so here I can also bring a measuring device and actually show you how the intensity of the radiation goes up. Oh my goodness. It's quite spectacular attacks here right now, but I can show you. Now, actually, it's sealed up right now, and you can't actually see it very well because the intensity of these of the attacks right now is quite intense. I didn't realize, but I made a video where I show the radiation with the other measuring device I have going up when I take the aluminium to one side, because there are microwave emitters placed on the other side of the wall, and the radiation doubles and triples when I remove the metal. So metal shielding also helps, and if you ask an expert in electrosmog and radiation, they will tell you the same thing. So metal works. The fact that tin foil is used and there's no tin, this is aluminium, guys, or baking foil, it's aluminium, there's no tin in it. So when Joe Weidenfeld says, "Where's your tin foil?" he's using the CIA disinformation term that was used to discredit early victims back in the day when there was still tin in the tin foil. So tin foil hat is, an expression from those days, I think the 50s and 60s. Okay. What do you think about spontaneous human combustion? Well, I think you can certainly bring it about with microwave weapons by, for example, pulsing a high-intensity microwave beam into a person's body, focusing it on an area with high body fat and igniting the body fat. You will literally set the person alight. I think. Fucktard's my favorite word. Yes, mine too, but it's not mine. Somebody commented on my YouTube channel that he or she was bored of saying fucking retards, so it was abbreviated to fucktards. And I think that's just perfect. It perfectly describes the intelligence agencies. They knocked out a tooth, broke others, hit me in the mouth all the time to destroy teeth. Yes, they do that. They do that, sadly, especially with women. They, but also with men. They try to, degrade you and make your appearance, degrade your appearance and stuff like that. Okay. Peter says, many of my gang stalkers put their children in. When they are raised, they will have known nothing else. That is social engineering of heartless society. Yes, very true. And it's also that they are essentially child soldiers, and that's banned, I think, under UN or UNESCO regulations. So child soldiers are not actually allowed in our societies because it is a form of brainwashing. And as you say, social engineering, the young generation, that's true. For someone who's under constant attacks, doctor, shot in the head, you sure get around a lot. You look better than me and way healthier. I think you're a plant tinfoil hat girl. I'm sorry. One of the things I notice about you, Joel Weidenfeld, is that you're immediately on the ball when I go online and I broadcast. So you're straight there as if you get paid. And you've got this really weird habit of capitalizing, little words in your statements that I've only seen from agents. So I assume that you're an agent. Okay. That tinfoil is not helping you. Well, frankly, I don't give a shit because it actually really helps to protect me from the attacks. Okay. All the young men in my neighborhood have been trained to attack with directed energy weapons, says Barbara Gillette. Yes, I think this is being done across communities, but not just men, also young women. Wow. Then there's, Joel Weidenfeld. Just listen, because as I pointed out, Joel Weidenfeld is clearly, to me, seems like an agent. And then listen to this comment: no wedding or engagement ring, doctor. Shot in the tits, ? Does it get microwave and burn? Now, the thing you have to know is that, yes, female victims do get microwaved in the breasts. They do get burned on the breasts by the psychopaths and the intelligence agencies. That's true. Now, no wedding or engagement ring. So that's trying to get into my personal, life. So marriage, wedding, this sort of stuff. And then shot in the tits. So you can hear that this guy is not just an agent. He also has the psychological trait of a psychopath, because he goes onto the SOS appeal of a victim and uses sexually denigrating language. So if you take Joe Weidenfeld, and we assume from the capitalization of his words and other odd signaling that he did in previous posts that he is an agent, then it's quite interesting to study how the intelligence agencies are hiring and paying people like him to denigrate victims. So to use, again, sexually denigrating language. And that is classic psychopath. So imagine you have an abuse victim and then you go up to them and then you use this sort of language, sexually denigrating language. So that shows you the psychopathy and the actual leadership of the intelligence agencies, because this isn't normal. Okay. And then again, Joe Weidenfeld says, there's no reason for a tinfoil background every performance, doctor. Fucked hard. Well, you clearly picked up on the word. I'm pleased. You learned something. There is a reason for the tinfoil, and that's, as I said, there's a microwave emitter on the other side, you idiot. And that's why that thing is there, because if it weren't there, the back of my head would be cooked, you know? Okay. Okay. Most agents are abused children trying to control people like their abusers. Well, they're not trying to control people like their abusers. They're trying to control innocent people who haven't done anything because they are broken. Okay. Okay. I'm just skipping over all the stupid comments. Okay. Most countries are at war, so yeah, intelligence agencies are growing. Yes, I think so. But I think it's the other way around. They first grow the intelligence agencies to take down the operation, to make it easier for them to be taken over in war. So, okay. So Leslie Beckwith says she likes the F word more than I do. No, well, you know what? Actually, that's a very important point, because if you're in the US, then swearing for you is really, really bad. But certainly in the UK, it's not. It's almost fashionable. But the other thing is also that I'm using the F word for two reasons. Number one, to show utter disrespect towards the fucktards in the intelligence agencies, because they've been blown up to be something like military leaders or some nonsense like that, whereby they actually utterly shit at their job. So you have to use disrespect as a weapon against psychopaths. And the second reason why I swear is because for genuine victims, it is actually liberating and activating. If you hear somebody talk in strong terms about the attackers, it actually passes strength to genuine victims, and it helps them find their voice. I'm also saying it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be aggressive, because these people are criminals and they need to be shut down. And it's okay to be totally disrespectful. So that's why I'm using the F word quite a lot, and it's so therapeutic. You should try it sometime. Okay. 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 I'm trying to look for actually good comments. Do you guys have actually any really good comments? Questions? Anybody? So there's quite a lot of comments here. Let's see. I'll try to answer everything that's worth answering. Okay. When I'm extremely tired and angry, I swear like a trooper. I think that's okay. Dr. Ronnie said microchips can be passed by a handshake. That's simple. Yes, in a sense, it's true, because these microchips can be very, very small. There's already, lots of efforts by the intelligence agencies to have spray on nano chips. So you could just, spray it on somebody's rucksack or back or on their clothing or even on their skin anytime. So you can also have it on your hand and just, pass it by handshake, and then you clean your hands, and then the microchips are on the other person. Okay. Write to the leaders of the political parties, especially opposition. Yes, I think John Finch tried that. They just don't. They just don't act. Is there any way to reflect the beam in resonance with the source? I think that's hard, because I think what you're exactly talking about, or at least it's what it sounds like to me as a physicist, it sounds like coherent, reflecting it in a coherent fashion, straight back to the source, and that's hard. But what you can do, copper, for example, is very good because it's reflecting across many, many frequencies, very effective. And my colleague Karen Melton Stewart put copper into the back of her car, and when another car mounted with a directed energy weapon assaulted her and wanted to hit her, in her car, the aluminium plate or the copper plate reflected it back onto the attackers. And she said she looked through her back mirror and she saw these people, what she said, they did a little dance because they were hit by their own weapon and they couldn't get out because they couldn't maneuver the car. They were stuck at the red light and they couldn't just jump out of the car and run away. So they fried themselves. So it is possible. Okay. I woke yesterday morning with a ticking sound in my head, mechanical. Could this be a microchip, please? Yeah, in principle it could be. It depends where the sound is. It can be generated by having several chips across your head and just making various pulses. Certainly. What is our plan if war breaks? We are the first to go. Well, I think the plan is not to let it come to a world war because we can't afford it. Our ecosystems are collapsing. So if we have a world war, we'll all die. Okay. Is there any ticking sound? Is tiny pulses hitting head and hitting inside of skull as it passes through, says Barbara Gillette. That's true. And there's something called cavitation, which is the very quick microwave heating of your brain tissue or tissue anywhere in your body. And then, sometimes you get micro bubble formation, and when these bubbles pop, you get a shock wave, and sometimes you can hear that too. Okay. Look at the cables on cell towers. That's how you know it takes a lot of power to use these. Is that meant to be sound wave guns? I don't think it's sound waves. I think it's electromagnetic waves. Okay, they come in your house when you're gone. Yes, that's true. That is certainly true. Any other questions? Okay, what do you think of the new targeted TA or TI survey by Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe? I totally trust Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe 100%. I think they're 100% genuine. And I think they're trying to do a very, very good job. I haven't actually completed the survey myself, but I think I'll do that. I think it's a very good effort because I think the two people, they are top data analysts. So whatever they put their brain and mind to, it will be top class work. I think they're trying to pin down what's being done to victims, and for that you need big data and actually honest replies and detailed replies. So if you fill out the survey, try to be as accurate, as precise as possible. Really think about it, and know that when you're submitting this sort of data, it goes into an analysis. So the more high quality answers you give, the higher quality the data analysis results will be at the end. So I think you should actually do that. Where are the other people? Well, today I'm just broadcasting my personal SOS. So this is not the Techno Crime Fighters Forum. So that will be tomorrow on Thursday, broadcast 5 to 7 p.m. Zurich time. Okay. They go after former agents, Well, no, they go after absolutely freaking everybody. So they pick single moms, they chip them, they torture them, they calibrate a weapon system using single moms and stuff like that. So not just old agents, but yeah, they also do go after former agents. For example, Carl Clark was assaulted by them and many other people. Okay. I know a lot of Freemasons, and I said something bad about them and they can't get over it. Well, I think, yes, the Freemasons are a cartel, and they are always recruited to do all sorts of stuff because they're a global network. So yes, Freemasons are involved. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading the last couple of comments. Okay. Hey, I would like to share my story as a fellow TI, but it's way too much information to do it in a chat room. Do you know of an online forum for TIs? I think you probably also want to share your story, such as it makes a difference. And for this reason, what we're trying to do is collect affidavits. So I'm just working on the affidavit template to put it together, to collate all the information to put before a judge and have this program shut down. So if you really want to, use your effort to maximum effect, I would say write an affidavit. And if you want to share it with others, you can make your affidavit public, but notarize it, and then other people can actually use it as well. And you can use it in court. Okay, hang on. I read they can track you by your DNA. I think they probably can. I don't know much about that technology yet, but they probably can. Doctor, once attacked by microchips, any way of removing from system? I think it depends on the chip. If it's embedded in your tissue, you might operate it out. If it's somewhere deeper, probably no. Is that true that most TIs have Rh negative blood type? I have no idea. Maybe that's something to report in this survey. Okay, I'm trying to skip through the last couple of comments. I get it also because of my ministry. Been watching you for a while now. Jesus Christ is coming back soon, so hang in there. I think that's a noble sentiment, but I also think we have to act ourselves. So if we just wait for Jesus Christ, I think we will be screwed. I think what we should do is maybe get together, be guided by the Spirit and what he was trying to tell people, because he also fought against the big fat cartel, and actually start acting now, and hopefully be joined by, if we get joined by higher forces, then the better. Okay. These are Nazi demons, and they know their time is short. I would hate to be left behind. John 3:16. Yeah. So Barbara Gillette agrees. Yes, trust Bill and Kirk. I think those two. I mean, I totally trust them. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? Are there any questions? What is the vibration I feel as if my body's being x-rayed? That could be actually sonic. So there is sonic vibrations you can pass on. If it's very diffuse, it could be vibrations coming through that. And it could also be electromagnetic. So I don't know. I would have to do more measurements to figure it out. Thank you for answering. I'm very suspicious of dentists regarding chipping. Do you agree? Yes, well, that's the problem. If they corrupt, when the intelligence agencies corrupt doctors, you can be chipped when you go to the dentist, but you can also chip during surgeries, and other places. And also they can come into your home, anesthetize you, and then chip you inside your home. So I think, if you trust your dentist, then, don't worry too much about it. And should he ever put a chip in, once you find it, you can actually sue him. Okay, let's see. Any other things? Okay. Okay, I think I answered all the questions. So for once, anyway, So thank you for listening. I'm trying to, I have to go to bed soon, climb under shielding again, and cower and wait for the next day when I'm being shot up by the intelligence agencies again. Meanwhile, I put all the email addresses for the to contact the heads of intelligence in the description below the video. So if you think this is utterly outrageous and people shouldn't be mutilated to death, you can contact Markus Seiler, head of the NDB. I should also share my screen and briefly show you what he actually looks like. So in case you haven't seen the last episode, let me show you. This is me watching the comments. That is Markus Seiler here. Note his seal ring. He seems to be part of the old Swiss families. The Nachrichtendienst des Bundes, that's Swiss Federal Intelligence. And any sort of large-scale mutilation program in Swiss-wide stalking and harassment by trainee degenerate agents would be authorized. Ultimately, the buck stops with him, so it's authorized by him. When there's an international case like mine, where, I already tried to take MI5 and MI6 to court, trying to get an emergency injunction, and I'm still being harassed by intelligence, this man here is responsible. So remember the face. He'll become very important later. And if you can find a voice sample of him when he gives a talk, for example, I think it might be worth your time backing up that voice sample, because these people, it seems, have committed crimes against humanity. So thank you for listening. I hope if there are other victims, I hope you can also come public and tell the world what's happening to us. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and bye for now.